Hey, let me ask you a question. I don't know if I've asked you this before, but I'm always amazed. All right, NBA head coaches at timeouts, you draw up plays, and you have your clipboard there, and you draw it up. Why
Yes.
don't you just turn to like a notebook where you have all your pages already drawn up? You know what I mean? And nowadays with like surfaces and everything, you just go, all right, we're going to go with this play because you have a playbook, correct?
Yes.
So why do you draw it up live there? That variation.
That's a good question. I think it's because every coach I've ever played for did the same thing. So I guess that's a good question. Although I do have a little cheat sheet that I have in my pocket.
Okay.
I have some of our plays and some of our sets and some of the guys, their favorite plays, and then I will go off of that. And I guess because the board, guys, it's easier and the guys can see a board. I mean, because it is 5 across, and sometimes there's a seat between players, and you have to have all their guys' attention. And I will say this: it doesn't always happen the way you draw it up. Some guys are in a fog, and sometimes they're not focused, and they forget to play. And I had a few players that have done that, and you just have to give it to them twice. Okay,
right.
You're walking off the court and say, okay, you remember where you are, right? Okay, you to the first screen.
Who's most likely?
Guys,
who's most likely to forget sort of their spot? Like you got to have some guys that are kind of ADD, and then they just kind of you have to multiple times remind them.
I bet on Oubre.
It all depends. Sometimes he's someone is locked something else, and it could be different guys. I mean, I would say this: Kelly has messed up a play last game. Actually, he started on the right side of the floor. He was supposed to be on the left, and we didn't get the lob. We threw a lob for Brad, and his man was actually in the way because he was actually not in the right spot. But Kelly, he does a pretty good job of memorizing plays for a younger player. He's only 21,
right?
And he's pretty good.
Did that just make you want to lose your mind, though? I mean, you just went over it, like literally 20 seconds
ago.
It does. Yeah.
It does. I try to keep my composure. I usually bring them over and, hey, you messed up that play. Come on, next time you got to do better.
Right.
But it's about getting players to play hard and play consistent every night.
Well, one of those guys is Kelly Oubre, and he's getting a lot of minutes. But it's funny, we were looking at the number. He's shooting great from threes, which I know you got to be excited about. But it's kind of like the production is like 9, 19, 9, 14. 4, you know what I mean? So you want to get more consistency there. How does that happen?
Well, I think it happens. His offense, I think, is going to continue to improve. His jump shot, I mean, he's knocking down threes. If he can continue this, that'd be terrific because he has worked on it the last couple of years a lot. So he's getting some rewards from all the hard work he's put in. But, yeah, with their offense right now with John and Brad and, Otto's really coming along and that 4th or 5th guy in our starting lineup, sometimes you're going to have a 15-point game. You just don't want to have a 4 or 5-point game. You want to have it. I think he has potential to be a double-figure scorer this year.
Mm-hmm.
Even when Keith comes back, he comes off the bench, he will get still some quality minutes, and he can give us a lot of good things. Kelly's really improved a lot, and the thing that I was concerned with last year was the consistency on the defensive end. I think we're seeing a better consistency on the defensive end.
Coach, you're back from the West Coast swing. West Coast, you're a California guy, supposed to be laid back, kind of a chill vibe. In Denver,
right.
Jokic runs into you, tempers flare. There's almost a scrap on the floor there. And then in Golden State, Beal and Draymond get into it underneath the basket. That was a feisty West Coast road trip for the Wiz.
I like to play with physicality. I like to play with toughness. We have to have an edge. As a professional athlete, you have to have that edge. If you just go into the game, hey, everything's going to be all right, I don't think you're going to be as successful. You have to have that mindset of competing. It's a competition. It's not an entertainment. And sometimes it feels like that, but you have to compete every night. And it was some tense moments, and we had a good trip. 2-2 on the West. We could have had a great trip. 3-1, or even we had a chance to win all 4 games. But I'm happy with we coming back with 2-2.
Philadelphia beat Houston on the road.
Beat Houston, yes.
When you get back to your hotel room or whatever after a game, are you sitting there and looking around at everything that the rest of the league is doing, or are you so obsessed with sort of what you're doing, you're not keeping track as much as you might think?
No, I do a little bit of both. I mean, I definitely keep track of what we're doing and focus on what we're doing. But I love the league. I love the NBA.
Right.
I've followed it. I've watched. I mean, I read every box score as a kid, and I still do that. I try to keep up as much as I can on the road, on the plane, at home. I mean, last night I watched the games last night. I love it. I mean, I love watching games. I love seeing what coaches do, how our players performing, and so when we do play them, we're ready and focused.